So here we are in early August, and I'm going to go ahead and talk today about all of those zone and weather changes that the Ag Department was warning us about last year coming to fruition this year. Most people thought it was a joke, but here we are in North Carolina, and we're stuck somewhere between Zone 7 and Subtropic 8. And the heat really did affect our crops this year, especially the green beans. Not just us, but everybody in our state has suffered with green bean crops and watermelons and so many other things because of the heat. And it's not going to get any better. So let's go ahead and show you a difference between our crop from last year, what they look like this year, what we're getting now, and talk about why we've not yet stored 1 quart of green beans this entire grow season. So for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, over the last 10 years, our USDA grow zones have changed quite a few times. And you can see in this chart that our zone here in North Carolina has changed at least 3 times in the last 5 years. Now, there are a few farmers here in North Carolina that believe that they was just going to change the numbers, but don't believe in climate change or temperature changing over a period of time. And now, in 2025, through the hot summer of July and August, they're feeling the effects on their crops and their bodies. Most people are over 50 are reporting they've never felt a summer this hot, and they've never felt heat in this state anywhere ever before in their life. Now you can see here by this chart where the problem comes here in North Carolina with all of this extra heat around 110 degrees and that extra 48 to 51 in humidity. Here on this chart it shows some of our most popular crops and the most max highs and lows for daytime and nighttime temperatures. As you can see, 110 to 112 degrees is at least 10 or 12 degrees over what our normal capacity is for these vegetables as far as their tolerance goes in heat and temperature. Now, the more our temperatures stay above what you see here in these thresholds, the more crops small gardeners and industrial farmers lose. And there is something smaller farmers can do, but the industrial farmers and commercial farmers have a lot more to worry about than the small gardeners. Now let's go ahead and walk y'all outside and show you the difference in last year's bean crop, this year's bean crop, look at some tomatoes, and talk about how we're going to fix some of this and try to save our crops next year. And here we are last year. This is what we called our wall of green beans. We got around 2.5 bushels off of this row. We had another row down in the Omega Garden that we put around 65 quarts of green beans off of that row alone. So we've always did good here with our green beans. These are Kentucky Wonder, in case you're wondering. These are indeterminate beans, they're pole beans, and once they get started in spring, they'll come out bud in the early summer, and you'll get beans all the way up until the frost kills them. Well, now we'll step out into the field and show you in 2025, late in the summer, what our beans look like now, and it's only going to get worse. Now here we are in the summer of 2025. This is early August, and you can see that we do have a bean crop. But what happened is when we got those excess temperatures up above 85, which we actually got temps in 109 to 110 degrees, these beans just grow and grow and grow during those hot times, and they'll put out plenty of flowers and look like they're putting out pods, but they won't attempt to make any beans. Just like tomatoes, the excessive heat and the pressure from the humidity will stall any kind of fruit or veg from coming out, and all you're going to get is greenery, and they're just going to keep growing these vines. We actually had some to grow off of the poles and completely down onto the ground around the black matting. And in the sun, that did kill some of our new crops here in 2025. Barely got to put out anything. We might have got 1 quart of green beans off of what plants the sun did kill. But we do have some that's still going. They're putting up decent green beans now that the weather has cooled and some of this bug pressure, as you can see, we do have some. But I wasn't going to spray because we've never had green beans that wouldn't put up any crop at all, just buds, and was kind of frozen time other than just growing out all these vines. Now these things just grew down and come plumb into our watermelon crop. They're all over the mat, and now they just are starting to put out beans. But as you can see, our indeterminate tomatoes are dead. Most of our watermelons are dead. Our zooks are fried, and all of our squash is fried. But we just planted pumpkins after all that excessive heat, and they seem to be doing fine. So now, according to the Ag Department, now that all that extreme heat's gone, we've had an early fall come in just for a couple of weeks. It'll get hot again, but not like it was. Our green beans are thriving. They're actually starting to put off some pretty big pods, and we'll get beans off of these things now all the way up until frost. but it still cut our harvest by almost 3/4 what we normally get. So now, from here on out, every summer, what we're going to have to do is a whole different strategy on how we plant our beans, where we plant them at, and we're also going to have to provide some shade cloth and some cooling techniques in those hot summer days. Now, I'm not going to press the issue too much because we've all felt these temperature changes over the last 5 years. But what we need to do is realize they're not going to get any better, and in the coming years, when we do garden or plant our food, we'll have to change our strategy and our timing, and also add some cooling techniques and kind of protect our crops from the summer heat in order to get some of our crops in and have a much better harvest. So thank you guys for watching this video. If ours don't change, you probably need to go check your zone. Thank you guys for watching. We sure do appreciate it. Y'all keep on keeping on, and I'll do my best to see you on the next one.